question number 23 of the PhilNITS FE morning portion of the exam. In this question, we are being asked, which of the following is the network device that makes a forwarding decision on the basis of the destination MAC address in the frame header? Okay, this question actually I think shouldn't be too difficult, except that I ended up with the incorrect answer, which is letter C, because according to the answers key, the correct answer is supposed to be D. Now, I think we need to explain also somewhat how I arrived with C, which is router, and why switching hub is the correct answer. I've put an underline to the part where, for example, we have forwarding decision. And I immediately remembered port forwarding because there was a time when, if, for example, you have a server inside your household that you want people from outside your household to be able to connect to, then you need to adjust something in the settings of your router, which is also at the same time from your ISP, your internet service provider. This was during the time when there was still the port forwarding settings. Now, I remember that because there was a time when I was keeping a server inside the household. Of course, eventually I learned that the internet service provider that we were using, PLDT, changed the router so that it's not anymore possible to do something like that unless you pay more, unless you avail of one of those business type of ISP plans that they were offering. Okay, of course, there was also an alternative which up until now I've been using, and that is to rent a server from another provider like Amazon Web Services, so that I wouldn't need to keep a server here locally. But of course, I think that there are definitely certain things like advantages when you have your own server, uh, where you're at, where you live, and I guess for the sake of security, it would be a lot better if you're really going to do that sort of thing. You pay more to the internet service provider, and in that way, you can uh, you can do your business. Because if we just let anybody do that sort of thing, then we may run into trouble, especially with people misusing the network or providing some kind of illegal online service. Actually, what we were using at the time, we had to use the service from DYN DNS because at the time the public static IP address wasn't static. It was a public IP address that changed from time to time, and we needed to use another service from DYN DNS to automatically update our IP address that would be accessible from outside. So we had to use a bunch of these things, which eventually led to the shutdown of the server at home, server locally, unless we paid more to the internet service provider. Okay, so having said that, port forwarding was something that I thought would be done by the router. But in fact, turns out that a switching hub would be better. And maybe I think it was because that a router can, of course, do so many things. It can assign IP addresses, and do the forwarding decisions. But maybe in this case, what we need would be a switching hub, and it would be enough to do the task, to do the forwarding decision on the basis of the destination MAC address. Now the other choices like patch cable and repeater hub, I think they can help with the network in certain cases. Like patch cable, maybe what I can think of is it's a way to fix some kind of cabling problems. And then a repeater hub, we know the repeater, for example, if the distance between two computers is too far, then we can use a repeater to extend, in a way, the signals being sent from one computer to the other. Now, the repeater hub is not supposed to think and make decisions, but to simply repeat whatever packet, whatever signal is being sent. And in that way, we can cover a longer distance. So, because we're talking about decisions, then router or switching hub. But maybe in this case, the switching hub would be sufficient for the task. Therefore, the correct answer is letter